guys, welcome back to the part 2 of 2 where we, in this video, last episode we came all the way here where we connected our Express server to MongoDB cluster. In this this video, we're gonna create get request for getting the user. Then we're gonna have post request for inserting the user into MongoDB cluster, and we're gonna set up the two APIs, get and post request, and we're gonna invoke those requests using Postman. So the first thing we're gonna do is install Postman. So if you wanna go ahead, just search Postman on your browser, go to the download Postman section, and just go ahead and download. If it's Windows, then download for Windows. If it's MacBook, then download for MacBook. And then once that's done, go ahead and open your download application. And once you do that, you should see this Postman. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to collection. You're gonna have a workspace. Just when you come, you'll probably at home, and then once you do that, you will just go ahead and create workspace. I'll just say test, and I'll just keep it personal and create workspace. There you go. So now I have workspace called test. I'm gonna create a new, and in the new I'm gonna create a HTTP request, because that's we're gonna create two get and post, and they're both gonna be HTTP requests. So I'm gonna go ahead and create. Now here you wanna enter the URL of where you're trying to access. So first thing is HTTP, and we're gonna access localhost, and it's gonna be port 5000. If you remember, if you go back to this, we said listening on port 5000, right? So we're gonna go back, and we're gonna say we'll just do that, and we're gonna make a request. If you do guess, it should say connection error, connection refused, and that makes sense because our server is not on yet. So we're gonna go ahead and run the server. Perfect. So now that our server is listening on port 5000, we have not created yet any logic for the request. However, whenever we try to reach, it should return a error message instead of saying that the connection is refused. So if we send it again, this time we're gonna get an HTML request, HTTP request, sorry, and then in it we'll get status 404 not found, and that's fine. At least we know that our server is listening on port 5000, and we're gonna go ahead and create two more APIs, or one get and one post request. The first request we're gonna create, it's gonna be a get request. So we're gonna say app.route. So this is gonna be the route where it's gonna be accepted. We're gonna say route is user, and then we're gonna say it's gonna be a get request. We'll have request result, and let's create a function. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this, the find one we created earlier in the previous video, and we're gonna paste it here. Then our username, so const username is gonna be equal to request dot query dot username, because we're gonna pass the username inside of a query inside the request. So once we get that, we're gonna say find one is gonna be equal to username, and instead of just console logging the error, we're gonna actually send. So we're gonna say server.status. We're gonna define this as 500, and then we're gonna just send the error message, which is gonna be just error. And then here, if it's successful, then we're gonna say console.log. We need to define, so res status is gonna be 200 for success. You don't need to define the status codes, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Res.send, and then this time we're gonna in the data field, we're gonna send the found item, right? We're also gonna actually do it here as well. We're just gonna send this as our data field. Okay, sweet. So we're gonna save it now, and let's see if this works. So we're gonna go back to our Postman, and here we created this request. Now we're gonna say user because that's where our API is listening, and for query we're gonna insert key equal to username, value, let's say hi, right? So this should return our object fetch from our MongoDB cluster. So if we send it, there you go, we get username, hi, and password crypto. So what happens if we do invalid user? So let's say bye, which is this user is not in our database. So if you send it, we'll get data is null, which is perfect. So we know that our get API is working properly. So now we're gonna go ahead and create post request for inserting user, and it's gonna be the same route. And then instead of get, it's gonna be a post request. It's gonna be request response, and inside here now we're gonna define two parameters, username and password, which will be extracted from request body. So inside of request, we're gonna have a body, and in body we're gonna have two parameters which we're gonna extract. Once we do that, we're gonna create instance. So we're gonna say user instance, and user instance is gonna be new user. Then inside here we're gonna have username, which is gonna be username. Then we're gonna have password, which is gonna be password. So once we do that, we're good. Let's just go ahead and save the instance that we created. So we're gonna say user instance save, right? And then inside save, we're gonna have a callback function. Then once it saves, we're gonna say then, and once that happens, we're just gonna say res status 200. And then we're gonna catch. If it's catch, then we're gonna say res status 500. Okay. So we're gonna save this, and we're gonna go here, and we're gonna change the request to post. We're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna go to body. We're gonna say raw in form of JSON, and then we're gonna define username as equal to we'll say bye, and then this is also gonna be that, and then we're gonna say password is gonna be crypto, same password, and we're just gonna and then we're gonna do this and this. Okay, there you go. And we can beautify, there you go. And then username is that, password is that. So that's our get request post, and then we're gonna make sure everything is good to go, and then we're gonna send it. So we got this error, which is fine. That's because we forgot to do one thing, and our body can't read our JSON yet. So what we're gonna have to add is, if you just go back to our top of the file, just say app.use, and then we're just gonna install a middleware, and we're gonna force it to use express.json. And once we do that, it should be fine. And we're gonna go here, and this time we're gonna add a request saying that this new user, and then we're gonna send it, and this time we should get a response back. Sorry, I forgot to change one more thing. If we go down here, we're gonna say saved doc, and then we're gonna say if saved doc is equal to user instance then do the following. There you go. And I want you to get out of here. Okay, there you go. And then we're just gonna say res.send. What are we gonna send? We're gonna send the doc that we just saved. And this is gonna be 2. Go, and then here we're just gonna say that, and we're also gonna res.send, and we're going to send the error, and the error is what we're gonna catch here. That, yeah, we need to make this better, so we'll do this, send this, and then if it's catch, do the following. Okay, so perfect. Now let's go ahead and save this. Now we're gonna go back here, and we'll just create saying that, let's say test user, and password is gonna be testing, and we're gonna send it. And there you go. Now we get a user back saying the test and testing. So this document is only sent after the saved document is equal to the document this document, right? So if you go to our cluster, I have a couple of created, but we should be looking out for test and testing. So if we go back here, test and testing is here. So that's working perfectly fine. So we know that our post request is also working. So now that we're here, we created 2 API requests, one get, one post, and this was the scope of our video. We were supposed to create 2 API requests and use Postman to invoke those requests. From this point on, you can add your own routes, you can add your own request as you wish, and then inside just go to the Mongoose documentation. I'll leave the link down in the description for the Mongoose documentation. Just go ahead and there, all these methods that I used, save, whether it was find one, there's update one, there's also more complex queries you can do. For example, if inside a username there was a list of users associated, yeah, there's a lot more complex things you can do with it. But yeah, this was the bare minimum. It gets you going. This is get request, post request. But yeah, other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope this video was easy to follow along.